50,000 years ago, your ancestors sat beside a fire in the dark. No phone, no Netflix, no mildly disappointing takeaway to distract them. Just the dark, and the sounds inside it. Every snap of a twig wasn't just a twig. It was a potential existential crisis with teeth. If you assumed the rustling bush was just the wind, and it turned out to be a saber-toothed tiger, you became dinner. But if you assumed the rustling bush was a malevolent monster, and it was just the wind, well, you looked a bit jumpy, but you survived to pass on your paranoid genes. Congratulations. You are the proud owner of a brain hardwired for hyperactive paranoia. We don't just see patterns, we invent them. We are obsessed with finding intention behind the chaos. And that is where the trouble really started. Fast forward a few thousand years. You've mastered fire, but you still don't understand a damn thing about meteorology. If a drought dries up your crops, you don't think about atmospheric pressure. You think, the sky is angry at me. If lightning strikes your cousin, it's not an electrostatic discharge. It's a targeted cosmic hit. The universe is terrifyingly random, and human brains absolutely despise randomness. We would honestly prefer to believe an invisible sky giant hates us and wants us to suffer, rather than accept the deeply uncomfortable truth that the universe doesn't care about us at all. Because if the sky giant is angry, that means there's a loophole. If he has a personality, he can be manipulated. So, you start experimenting. You dance. You chant. You burn a perfectly good goat because you think the smoke smells like an apology. And magically, 3 days later, it rains. It's a classic correlation error, but your brain throws a party. It worked. You've invented the ultimate life hack, invisible referees. Suddenly, the chaotic, uncaring cosmos feels like a courtroom where you can negotiate the terms of your survival. You just have to figure out exactly what the invisible giant wants. And usually, what he wants looks suspiciously like what the tribal elders want. For a long time, this hyperlocal paranoia worked fine. You lived in a small tribe of about 50 people. You knew everyone. If Bob stole your favorite rock, you just hit Bob with a bigger rock. Problem solved. But then, we invented agriculture. Suddenly, you aren't living with 50 people anymore. You're living with 50,000 people. This presents a massive structural flaw in human nature. Biologically, we are only equipped to trust about 150 people max. Beyond that, everyone else is a potential threat. You can't run a city, an empire, or a tax system if everyone wants to hit each other with rocks. How do you get thousands of complete strangers to cooperate, build roads, and not murder each other over property lines? You need a massive, shared imaginary friend. You need everyone to buy into the exact same cosmic myth. You tell the masses, look, I can't see what you do in the dark. The king can't see you either. But Big Brother in the clouds? He sees everything. And if you steal that man's grain or sleep with that man's wife, he will torture your soul in a lake of fire for eternity. It was history's most brilliant piece of software. It didn't require police on every corner. It outsourced policing to the culprit's own conscience. Suddenly, empires could scale. Soldiers who had never met would march into battle together, entirely convinced they were fighting for the same divine property manager. Religion became the ultimate glue for human civilization. It turned us from squabbling apes into a highly organized, terrifyingly efficient global superpower. So, why did we invent religion? We invented it because we were terrified of the dark. We invented it because we couldn't stand the thought of a universe that didn't know our names. And eventually, we used it to keep ourselves from tearing each other apart as our societies grew too big for our biology to handle. We traded the raw, unpredictable chaos of nature for the structured, bureaucratic comfort of cosmic rules. We bought ourselves peace of mind at the low price of permanent existential guilt. Which brings us to the ultimate, brilliant irony of the human story. We originally created gods to make ourselves feel less alone in a massive, terrifying universe. We built them to unite us against the cold, quiet void. And then, almost immediately, we spent the next 10,000 years using those exact same gods as the perfect excuse to slaughter each other. Turns out, the dark inside our own heads was always much scarier than the dark outside the cave.